Good morning. Welcome back to my garage. Today I thought I'd bring you a little review video of a product I used recently that hopefully will help you if you're having the same issue I was having and not quite sure what product to use. So today's video I'm going to take a look at the Blue Devil oil stop leak product itself. I just used this a little over 24 hours ago, and I'll bring you the results that I've seen. I'll also explain why I wanted to use it and the type of issue I was having, and that way you can relate it to your circumstances. And that's what I try to do in some of these review videos. It's not to sell you a product, convince you on a product, it's to educate you. Because I know when I was looking, it was really tough to find information on some of the products. And because some of the products out there can be looked at as snake oil, what do? So I'm hoping that this video will help you if you're in a similar situation. Behind me, I have some cardboard, and I'm going to show you some results. There's two pieces of cardboard. I'm standing in front of one of them on purpose, just so that you can see the before and the after. So, to preface all this, I have a 1988 Pontiac Grand Prix, which is about 99% all original. And over the last year, I've noticed some little drops of oil when I've taken it out for a drive or I've run it over the winter months in the garage. I stop it and then I notice a couple of drips the next day. Nothing major, but just enough to be annoying. So I thought, I've got to figure out what is happening to find a solution. And the reason I'll do this review is because if you're having something similar, maybe not on a classic car, maybe on a used car you've purchased, or you've purchased it for your kids, and you're noticing some oil leaks, but it's not major, do you look to tear the engine apart to replace a single gasket? Maybe not. And maybe you do. So be cautious with any product you use. Now, in my case, what happened is it was kind of a self-inflicted issue. And I'll explain why. This is a 1988 Pontiac Grand Prix. In the 80s and 90s, cars weren't built to the same tolerances they are today. And the oils we used weren't the same by any stretch of the imagination. This car is rated to run on conventional oil, which is thicker, or a semi-synthetic, which is thicker from the 80s and 90s. So because the tolerances aren't as tight as today's engines, because of the thinner oils, etc., you can get oil passing through some of the gaskets little by little. And the reason I say it's self-inflicted, I was a Castrol dealer at my dealership. Loved the product, was great. There's lots of great oils out there, so don't get me wrong. But when I went over to the Castrol Edge products, the one thing I didn't think about on a classic car is the amount of detergent that is in today's oils. What would it do to that engine? Well, I'll tell you what it did. It cleaned up a bunch of the sludge, etc., that's along the gasket fittings on the internal. Now, this is speculation. I haven't torn the engine apart, but based on what I see happening, this is what I think has happened. The detergents have cleaned up the engine a bit, especially around the gaskets. Now, today's new thinner oils, especially the synthetics, get more and more of their viscosity from viscosity modifiers that are added to the oil. And that thinner oil, to get better emission standards, to have the engine work less, to get better mileage, starts to slip past the gaskets of older vehicles. And what I was noticing was, upon inspection, which is quite a process in this car because you have to rotate the engine forward to look behind it, I had noticed some oil dripping down from what it looked like at the base of the valve cover. So I thought, okay, maybe, and I had noticed this from underneath the car on a hoist, maybe the simple solution, pull the valve cover off, replace the gasket, make sure it's a good fit, and off you go. Rotate the engine forward, go to inspect where the oil is, make sure before I order my parts. And what do I notice? To get the valve cover off, you got to take the manifold intake cover, you got to take a whole bunch of other components. It's not a simple job as if it had been the front intake cover or valve cover. So I decided, yeah, not doing this, not for the amount of oil that's leaking. And to give you an idea, over a season last year, that oil leaked and I had to replenish 0 amount of oil. It looks a fair amount of oil on a cardboard over multiple months, but it's very minor. Hence the Blue Devil. So I'm going to grab the camera now, show you the cardboard so that you can see the real world results. I'm very pleased. What you really need to do, read the instructions well. This will treat 4 to 6 quarts. In Canada, it's about $24, $25. In the US, I believe this is $12 to $15. You put it in your engine cold, take your car, run it for an hour and a half to 2 hours. I took mine on a 250-odd-ish kilometer run, which is about 160 miles for our friends in the US. So I had a nice day of cruising and made sure that when I stopped to grab some lunch, the only time the car stopped was when I ran in to grab a burger. Then I came out, ate it in the car. Yeah, I'm going to hear about that in the comments. You can eat in your car very carefully. I'm a car guy. You never make a mess. And when I came back out to eat, the reason I ate in the car was so I could start the car again, keep it running. They suggest running for an hour and a half, 2 hours continuous. So came out, had my burger, and I could throttle the pedal between idle and kind of 1600 RPM. So it would go up and down, stay a little bit at 1600, come back down to idle. So it was always moving that oil through the engine. And then I parked the car, and it's been sitting for 24 hours, so I could really get a good idea. So what we're going to do, I'll show you the bottle up close, the Blue Devil oil stop leak. And they say it is good for, sorry, I lost where it was. Here it is. Pinion seals, gear cases, refillable shock absorbers, gearboxes, axle seals, and gear differentials. So let's put that down, grab the camera, and I'm doing some work outside because it's going to be 36 degrees Celsius today. That's probably 90s, 100 plus Fahrenheit. And I'm going to show you here, this cardboard has been used for the last 8 months under the vehicle. So it looks a lot worse. What you typically get over a return trip, if you take the car out for a half hour to hour run, when you let it sit, you'll get a spot like this. Now, if you notice, there's a line down the center. That's really the kind of drip you get off the engine, and then it just over time widens out. So this looks a lot worse than it is. This is the cardboard that was under the car in the last 24 hours. Literally, now, I think these couple of front ones here are road grime because the area I'm having is at the back of the engine is where it leaks. And again, you can see, let's get you up close, you can see it has actually widened out over the 24 hours because you can see the inner mark where really the oil was. And right there. Now, if we ran this car for the next couple of weeks and we saw these oil dips, then, and you went and checked your engine, you wouldn't actually notice on the dipstick that it had even moved. Obviously it's moved, but it's so minor that it's, over months, it's maybe a few milliliters, which you won't even notice on a dipstick. But that is the result and difference between, let's say, that would be more of what it would look like over 24, 48 hours versus the result now. So recommendation at this would be get in the car today, go out for another hour, hour and a half drive, let it cycle through the engine, let it coat the engine again, flip over the cardboard or put another piece of cardboard, or if you don't have a ton of cardboard, mark these with a marker. Circle the areas that are already there, adjust the way you're putting in your cardboard, and you'll be able to see where the new drips fall. And hopefully there won't be any or very minor. I have a suspicion the more I drive, the better it will get. So if you're like me and wasn't sure, is this snake oil, not snake oil, etc., I'm impressed. And no, this is not a sponsored video. I did buy this from the local Canadian Tire. I'll put a link below so you guys can order the product from Amazon if you like, or your local stores. If you do order it from Amazon, either in Canada or the US, it'll be an associate link, which means we get paid a few cents by Amazon. Your price does not change. They pay it out of their profit, and that just helps the channel so that we'll bring you some more videos like this. I purchased it from Canadian Tire because I happened to be in Canadian Tire when I was thinking about it, saw it, and brought it home. Otherwise, I may have just bought it from Amazon. Anyways, please like and subscribe to the channel. I'd greatly appreciate it. I'll try to bring you some helpful tips like this that will help you in real life that are not sponsored videos. You know, I'm pleased enough that I don't need to be paid to do product reviews in order to live. Yes, I have a couple of YouTube channels from over the years. Yes, they generate income, but it's bonus income. It's not income that I need to survive on. So I like to keep that ability of, do I like the product or don't I? What do I like about it? What don't I like about it? The Blue Devil, the company seems pretty decent. I had heard some different usage of some people loved it, some people didn't. So here's my take on it. You know, be cautious with what you do with these products. I'm happy. Maybe down the road, what I'll do is in a couple of months, bring a follow-up video so you can see, are we still getting this over here or are we back to that? Anyways, Bruno here. Hope you guys have liked it. Thank you very much for watching. Check back soon for more videos. Also, check my other channel, RVing TV, which does RV walkthroughs and RV products. Thanks, guys. Make sure you live life to the fullest. Take care.